Whenever you think of superheroes, most of the population today will think of Iron Man, Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and many other superheroes that Marvel has made a household name over the past 10 years. But prior to the chokehold that Marvel has had on theaters for the past 10 years, there's an established big three. No, not that big three. I mean the big three superheroes in the early 2000s, which consisted of Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Spider-Man, even before his Sam Raimi directed movies, was an extremely popular character amongst comic fans. Your great-grandparents have most likely heard of Spider-Man as opposed to someone like Howard the Duck. But why is that? When you think of the greatest superheroes, why is it that you think of a billionaire playboy with one of the best rogues galleries in fiction, a literal demigod with a heart of gold, and a broke high school student from Queens? Hello everybody, it's your boy Daffy, and today I'll be examining why I wholeheartedly, and I think you will at the end of this video too, believe that Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, is the best superhero of all time. I'm not going to be going over his backstory as that would be a waste of your time, and I'm assuming you already know the majority of it if you're clicking this video. But to sum it up really fast, high school nerd, his uncle got packed up, he meets his uncle's killer, realized that he could have stopped the whole thing, boom, responsibility, everybody knows the story. Everyone knows that this is the credence that Spider-Man lives by, his code, but I truly think that some people don't see how much this affects him when it doesn't come to things like, oh, I should save people because it's the right thing, or oh, I shouldn't kill people because it's bad. Peter shoulders all of his guilt and shame upon himself, and that can really be a flaw for him because he wants to keep those close to him away from the dangers and repercussions of his dual identity as both a high school / college student and a superhero, as what we've seen with the death of Gwen Stacy. One of my favorite interactions I've come across in recent memory is seeing Spider-Man interact with Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is the son of Reed Richards, and he is one of the most powerful mutants in the universe. And in this story, unfortunately, his uncle Johnny Storm died in battle. Spider-Man encounters Franklin and asks how he's doing. Obviously not well, and Franklin responds, but Spider-Man really just sits. He just sits with Franklin and asks if he wants to grab a bite to eat. He doesn't want to push him to talk about his grief as he was in an almost identical situation. This parallel is even outright stated when Franklin goes on to tell Spider-Man that he thinks he could have stopped his uncle from dying, and Spider-Man responds with telling him that he knows he could have prevented his own uncle from dying. He gives Franklin some wise words and essentially tells him the same thing Uncle Ben told him. He tells Franklin that if you have the opportunity to do good and you have the powers that they have been blessed with, you need to choose good every single time. This is a very off-topic tangent, but I love when superheroes have the ability to talk to children properly. I feel like this goes unnoticed in a lot of comic book media. I'm unsure of who said it, but there is a quote I have seen somewhere where someone has said, if your Batman cannot talk to children and have a positive interaction with them, that's not Batman, that's just the Punisher in a funny hat, or something along those lines. Spider-Man's rogues gallery is incredibly fantastic as well. Obviously, some of the highlights include the Sinister Six, but you do have your heavy hitters as well, like Venom, Carnage, Miles Warren, Kingpin, etc. A lot of Spider-Man villains have a personal connection to Peter himself, not necessarily Spider-Man, which makes for some very interesting dynamics. This was shown front and center in Spider-Man Homecoming, and Eddie Brock is also a perfect example of this. Depending on what continuity you're referring to, Eddie absolutely hated Peter for Peter destroying his personal life, and because of this common ground with the symbiote, it created one of Spider-Man's fiercest villains. The Lizard is Peter's college professor. Dr. Octopus in the Sam Raimi films is one of Spider-Man's idols. Norman Osborn is his literal mortal enemy, besides Morlun, who I'll talk about in a minute. Compare this to someone like Batman, who maybe would have the closest equivalent to a villain in his gallery, like someone like Hush, maybe. Depending on the continuity again, comics are weird. One of my favorite qualities about Spider-Man and other heroes similar to him is his willpower. Don't be fooled by modern Spider-Man comics that are actively trying to tarnish the character's legacy, except for Nick Spencer's run. I mean, that was actually decent. Spider-Man is on par or even above characters like Invincible when it comes to sheer tenacity. Just as a brief example, Spider-Man had to face off against Morlun, who is without a doubt one of the deadliest entities he's ever come across. Morlun is on a mission to kill every animal totem and drain their life force in order to live. Spider-Man would be considered one of these because spiders in his name. I'm not going to be going deep into detail about what that means, but go read the run for yourself. It's actually really good. It's only about 14 issues or so. Anyway, upon their first fight, Morlun strikes Spider-Man, and Spidey states that not even the Hulk himself hits as hard as Morlun, which is yeesh. Anyway, Morlun ends up beating the ever-living crap out of Spider-Man, which forces him to retreat after he blew up a whole restaurant kitchen on top of him. Spider-Man tries to get away, but it's ultimately futile as he can just track him since he made physical contact with his skin. Morlun is OD, bro. He's essentially a vampire, like if you couldn't obviously tell how he dresses. He doesn't age or get tired as long as he's properly fed. In their second fight, Spider-Man reveals that he was fighting Morlun for over 12 hours. 12 hours of just straight hands. Like, yeah, Invincible versus Conquest is a super cool fight and all, but like, something like this hits me more. months. 12 hours straight of our hero getting his behind handed to him and trading blows back to back. Spider-Man states that he's tired, wants it to be someone else's problem, at least for a little bit. He's hungry, he's beaten, he's exhausted. He wants nothing more than to just leave and forget all about it, but he can't. Like he said in his previous fight with Moreland, I'm Spider-Man, I need to act like it. Uncle Ben would have been ashamed if Peter had let someone else clean up his mess, or if any bystanders were killed because he refused to act. After all, Moreland took a child as a hostage previously. What would stop him from doing it again? Spider-Man actually thinks he might die fighting Moreland, and he ends up calling Aunt May to just tell her that he loves her one last time, just to hear her voice. I'm not going to reveal the conclusion of this arc because there are some massive repercussions for Spider-Man, but you'll have to read that for yourself. Actually, I think it's about time for someone else that shares similar views on our favorite web slinger to speak up.
The first factor that makes Spider-Man amazing is his motto. The motto of the Spider-Man story is, with great power comes great responsibility. Everyone knows this motto, but what makes it such a phenomenal trait is not as obvious. The first reason is that it provides him with a foundational set of morals. This moral foundation tells us that Spider-Man is a responsible person who will always try to use his powers for the good of mankind. This is even pushed to the limit in stories like Spider-Man 2, where he chooses being a superhero over his own happiness in life. The second reason is that this is implemented into such a powerful backstory. Uncle Ben gave him this lesson, but Peter didn't listen, and as a result, Uncle Ben was killed. This is textbook theme writing. The character goes against the theme, suffers because of it, and learns the value of the theme. This is such a simple, yet powerful and empathetic backstory for Peter Parker. The third reason is that it is iconic and marketable. How many other superheroes can you name with a unique code or motto? I can only name Batman with his no killing rule, and even then, it's not in the form of a catchy slogan, so it's not a motto. This motto allows for Spider-Man to stand out from the rest purely on a character level. The next factor that makes Spider-Man spectacular is the impact of his dual identity. Having a double life as a civilian and a hero is a staple in superhero stories, but not many make great use of them. I can't tell you how Iron Man or Captain America's civilian life impacts their superhero lives, but with Spidey, I can. He's already struggling in his regular life, whether he's in school or working for the Daily Bugle. But then he has the additional pro bono responsibility of being a superhero. The fact that he always prioritizes saving people, despite struggling financially and not getting paid for being a hero, demands that you respect him. Such selflessness is a modern and relatable type of heroism. This also ties back to his motto. The last factor that makes Spider-Man ultimate is his physical abilities. Many heroes have all kinds of marvelous powers, but Spidey's set is very limited. He has the regular superhuman physique, but only a limited amount. For example, he's strong enough to lift a car, but he can't lift a mountain. This limited superhuman capability allows him to be put in a wider array of dangerous situations, and when he makes a path to victory, the win is all the more satisfying and respectable. On top of his superhumans, he can stick to surfaces and he has the Spidey sense. His web shooters aren't powers, but tech. This signature attack adds credibility to his name because he made it with his intellect rather than simply being gifted the ability. The webs are also very underpowered and require him to get strategic to use them effectively. His webs can't knock out anyone, they only stick. The show's Spectacular Spider-Man occasionally displays some very creative uses for his web slinging, and it's always a treat to see him develop innovative solutions. Again, having such a limited attack makes battles significantly more satisfying when Spidey manages to secure a path to victory.
And I couldn't agree more. I could go into why Kane is one of my favorite Spider-Men, or how Ben Reilly is consistently disrespected because Marvel has a massive hate boner for his character for some reason, or how Miles Morales is Spider-Man. There's no debate, he is Spider-Man. If people can accept this guy as the Flash, or this guy as the Flash, or this guy as the Flash, this dude is Aquaman, and this dude is Aquaman, then yeah, Miles is most definitely Spider-Man. I swear to God, media literacy is actually dead because anyone arguing otherwise didn't watch Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, oh my God, I'm ranting. Apologies. Oof. All in all, I think that Spider-Man is actually a fantastic character, and just as Captain America said, he is undoubtedly the best of them all. Hopefully Marvel can get it together and give us a quality cartoon in the Spider-Man universe just like Spectacular, or even just respect the character at least a little bit in modern comics, but we will see about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Daffy, guys. Let me know, what is your favorite Spider-Man moment? What about Spider-Man for you personally makes him your favorite, or do you consider Spider-Man very flawed? Do you not like Spider-Man? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, peace.